beautiful.
Hello there, you're now with me, Handy Gui, and welcome to your 5 p.m. English news on TVS. Now let's dive into the headlines for today. State and district disaster management committees in Sabah and Sarawak have been activated and will increase their readiness level following a warning issued by Met Malaysia.
The National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, on a Facebook post stated that the order was issued following the persistent rain yellow warning issued by the Met Malaysia for several areas in Sarawak, including Muka, Matu, Dalat and Muka, Bintulu, Tatau and Bintulu, Miri, Subis, Miri and Marudi, and Limbang. The warning issued at 11 p.m. last night also involves Labuan as well as several areas in Sabah, including interiors of Sipitang, Kuala Penyu, and Beaufort, the West Coast, and Kudat.
Now, representatives of P and E-hailing riders and drivers will meet Transport Minister Dato Sri Wee Ka Siong on Monday. And according to Political Secretary to the Prime Minister Kaizul Nizam Muhammad Zuldin on Saturday, the Prime Minister's office PMO hopes to arrive at a win-win situation for drivers, riders, consumers and vendors. Following the food delivery blackout, an ongoing strike is a measure taken by mostly Grab and Foodpanda delivery riders in order to call for better social protections and regulations within the P and E-hailing industries.
He also said one of the issues is the freedom of arbitrary pricing given to customers, which has forced Grab to lower its prices to safeguard its business. However, the consequences go on to affect its workers. He also said that there was an issue with the government increasing the base fare from 70 cents to 90 cents. He added the increase was still not enough and was more in line with the 1960s and the 70s, pointing out that the cost of living has risen since then, as has the cost of vehicle maintenance. Besides that, he said that drivers felt there should be more regulation when it came to the issuance of permits. He cited the examples of the Grab app providing no regulation in terms of the age of vehicles used for the service or inspections by the Computerized Vehicle Inspection Center, Puspacom.
Now, with more rights under the Malaysia Agreement 1963 being reclaimed by the state government, the idea of Sarawak's own sovereign fund may just materialize, if not sooner than later. This idea has been mentioned by the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Rahman Johari Tun Openg, many times. But before it could be set up, Sarawak will need to have a stable surplus of revenue. Fortunately, Sarawak is already on the right track, earning 2.9 billion ringgit from the sales of Sarawak's petroleum products on top of the oil royalty from Petronas.
We are in the stage of proposal and studying and looking into it. So if this can be done, then the future generation, our future generation will have huge amount of reserve and money for us to develop the state. So we don't have to worry about the money, if we have this sovereign fund. I think that's why it's very important. And that's why the pursuance of our rights under MA 63 is very crucial. If we are successful in this, if we have a representative in LHDN, which we will have, we have presented our names to the federal government, still waiting for their reply and response. If all these are in order, and we have additional money, we have surplus, we can form the sovereign fund. It is for, it's a generation of wealth, getting more wealth for the future of the country.
Under Article 112D of the MA63, Sabah and Sarawak are entitled to receive a special annual grant from the federal government as a recognition of equal status forming the Federation of Malaysia. Hence, Hasida stated that the amount of the special grant allocated should be based on a formula, which the Sarawak government has proposed through its State Financial Secretary SFS. This is to determine a fair, reasonable and equitable amount to the federal government.
3. So under Article 112D, the special grant given to us every year must be reviewed every 5 years. Tapi, sadly, was never reviewed since 1969. Baru di-reviewed recently. Yeah? So the review of how to review the grant, we are telling the federal government, you cannot review or give extra to us at your whim and fancy. Up to you, how you want to give. We are telling the federal government that we are giving them a special formula on how to calculate the review, the amount to be the extra amount to be given to Sarawak. The special formula we have submitted to the federal government. Tapi until now, we have not received any feedback from them. So we hope that they will accept our special formula. And this formula is important so that the extra money to be given under special grant is something that is reasonable, something that is equitable, that is fair to Sarawak. And the formula also takes into account the financial position of federal government. We are very fair.
Apart from the proposed formula, the state government need to have a representative in the Inland Revenue Board to ensure the state receives the right amount of its annual special grant. Being on board on the IRB would also ensure Sarawak is consistently informed with the country's generated revenue and the amount the state will receive.
In order for us to know the financial position of the federal government, we have to have a representative in the LHDN board. This is why this is very important. In order for us to ensure that the money or the provisions or the allocation given to us and the special grants are fair and equitable and reasonable for the state. But our job is to just present it to the federal government. That formula is a fair formula. Macam kini tu, punya nak madah increase saja. Suka hatinya kah? Suppose yang buat kita 10 million, lebih lah, buat contoh. Okey, kami nak increase, kata. Kami increase kepada 13 million. Apa asasnya increase ya? You must have a basis to increase. So the basis is a formula yang mau ada. And that is why it's important for us to have representative in LHDN. LHDN is a board where from there we know how much the country revenue is. How much revenue from Sarawak. So if we know that, then the formula will be better. Isn't it? So kita tahulah berapa untung Malaysia ni, berapa yang nak ambil in Sarawak, at least we know. So it will be better and reasonable and more fair to Sarawak and also federal government.
Welcome back. Now, the government has allocated 50 million ringgit for individuals, including graduates who are keen to start a home-based food business under the Pemulih Newbies financing program.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the financing program through Agrobank was also the purchase of machines for food business or the purchase of motorcycles for the purpose of food delivery through the e-hailing platform. Adding further, he said that up to 5,000 ringgit would be offered for the first stage and 10,000 ringgit for the second stage.
Pemohon diberikan moratorium bagi tempoh 6 bulan pertama dan dikenakan 3% kadar keuntungan bagi bulan ke-7 dengan tempoh maksimum pembiayaan sehingga 60 bulan atau 5 tahun.
He said so when launching the 2022 Malaysian Agriculture, Horticulture and Agro-Tourism Exhibition, MAHA 2022. Also present was Agriculture and Food Industries Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Ronald Kiandi.
Now on to some global affairs. A group of Mexican police officers have been attacked by gunmen in central Mexico, with a shootout leaving 13 people killed on Saturday, August 6. As a result of the clash, 13 suspected criminals have been killed and 2 more attackers have been detained.
The special operation in the municipality began after the detention of 2 women who said that they had participated in the secret burial of bodies and showed the location of the remains to the law enforcement officers. During the search activities, the task force was attacked by unknown gunmen who tried to hide in one of the houses. During the storming of the building, 10 men and 3 women in body armor were killed. Police officers have seized weapons and 6 cars during the operation.
Now wrapping up the 5 p.m. news, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will reshuffle his cabinet next week to address mounting issues, including the coronavirus, inflation, Taiwan affairs, and economic stimulus measures.
内閣改造については、今、与党とも相談し、来週にも行いたいと思っています。今、新型コロナ、物価高への対応、ウクライナ情勢、台湾情勢、そして今後もですね、防衛力の抜本的な強化、また今、災害のシーズンを迎えています。また、経済対策等についても議論していかなければならない。こうしたさまざまな課題を考えますと、とにかく新しい体制を早くスタートさせたいと、常々思っていました。
His remarks came during a news conference in Hiroshima after attending a commemoration for the 77th anniversary of the world's first atomic bombing in the city, in which UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres was also present. The central government is currently grappling with issues including ones on high prices, the situation in Ukraine and Taiwan, and strengthening Japan's defense capabilities. Kishida did not give any details of his cabinet changes. However, it was earlier reported that he would likely replace Defense Minister Nobuo Kishi. Given his health issues, in the reshuffle scheduled for Wednesday, August 10th.
That's all the time we have for TVS News at 5. I'm Handy Gui. Thank you for watching.